Some days the news does not walk straight through the front door. It shows up in those small details somebody is trying to handle quietly behind the scenes. And today, Patriots Nation, the air around Foxborough feels different. June 1 is right there. A.J. Brown's name is heating back up. A possible in-house consequence is already putting pressure on the receiver room. A Notre Dame rookie has signed his first deal, and Drake Maye is staring at a schedule that is going to test protection, leadership, and nerve. Stay with me. Subscribe to the channel, because this episode feels like a decision is being cooked up somewhere far away from the microphones. Now we step into the hallway where this gets really interesting, because A.J. Brown has become the kind of subject nobody in Foxborough is treating like a joke, even if everybody is choosing their words carefully. June 1 is coming, and that is not just another date on this chessboard. Before then, Philadelphia would have to eat a brutal cap hit, around $43.5 million in dead money. After that, the math changes. It falls to something close to $16.35 million in 2026, with the rest pushed into 2027. And when the NFL money calendar starts explaining the quiet around a negotiation, my friend, you know people are doing math behind closed doors. What Jeremy Fowler said on 97.5 The Fanatic only made that feeling even stronger. He said his best guess is that maybe something is already loosely in place, some kind of framework sitting on the table that does not need to be signed to be taken seriously. And the biggest part might not even be that. Fowler said Philadelphia is probably looking at a first-round pick, maybe a future one, possibly 2028, and that he does not see much more than that as the max return. So the idea of a monster price, with a first and a second attached together, feels like it is losing steam around the league. And this is where the Patriots have to be cold, but not scared. If the Eagles want a first, New England has to ask one thing. Which first? Because the 2027 class is expected to have real heavy hitters, and giving up that ticket could hurt more than it feels like right now. But if the conversation moves toward a future pick, with some mid to late round movement mixed in, now the room changes. Now you start weighing Drake Maye with a true #1 target against the value of protecting draft capital for another year. This is not Madden. This is window management. Fowler also said he has not found another team truly in the race. Chiefs? From what he was told, no. Rams? They checked in, but it did not turn into anything serious. And when only one team is really circling, the price can get pinned down. Philadelphia can try to create a market. They can make calls. They can hope somebody jumps into the auction. But if the only buyer with real hunger is New England, Elliott Wolf gets negotiating power. And there is another detail, a player in the package. Fowler does not think it would be a receiver going to Philadelphia because the Eagles are already loaded at that spot. That shines some light on Kayshon Boutte, who has been absent from workouts while trade rumors are floating around, heading into the final year of his contract, inside a room that already has Mac Hollins, Romeo Doubs, DeMario Douglas, and could add Brown. Somebody loses space if that bomb drops. On the field, the read is simple. Brown had 78 catches, 1,003 yards, and 7 touchdowns in 15 games last season. He would not be decoration. He would be the guy who forces defenses to look at Drake Maye differently. And maybe that is why this story refuses to die, because behind all the noise, it makes way too much sense. But every big move comes with a bill inside your own roster. And this is where the story stops being only about A.J. Brown and turns into an uncomfortable question for the Patriots receiver room. If New England really adds another star, who survives in Josh McDaniels' rotation? Mo Moton from Bleacher Report put DeMario Douglas out there as a possible cut candidate, and I know a lot of fans are going to react fast because Douglas is not just some random name to this fan base. He was a 6th-round pick in 2023. He produced early. He led the team in receiving yards as a rookie with 561. Then he tied Hunter Henry for the team lead in catches in another season with 66. He became one of those players fans learn to defend because it feels like the team found him where most people were not even looking. But roster building behind the scenes does not run on affection. It runs on role. And when too many players start fighting for the same job, the coach has to decide who truly fits the design. That is where Moton's read comes from. Douglas, in his first year in McDaniels' offense, reportedly saw fewer slot snaps than he did in the previous 2 seasons. Then you look around. Hunter Henry can work inside. Stephon Diggs was used in that area too. Romeo Doubs can line up in different spots. If A.J. Brown comes in, he is not walking through the door politely asking for 3 plays per quarter. He changes the whole board. That does not mean cutting Douglas would be easy, not even close. He has short area burst, separation in tight spaces, and that ability to turn a simple play into real movement. In the season mentioned, he had 31 catches, 447 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Before that, he reached 66 catches, 621 yards, and 3 touchdowns. There is use there. There is football there. The real discussion is different. Is use enough when this roster is trying to move out of survival mode and into real threat mode? Because McDaniels is not going to build a receiver room to honor the past. He is going to build it by role, detail, blocking, reads, chemistry with Drake Maye, and game day value. Douglas can absolutely fight for that. But if Brown walks through that door, space will not be handed out based on hope. It will be taken in practice, in the playbook, and on Sundays. And while everybody is staring at the top shelf, there is another kind of work happening underneath it. Less noisy, but big for the structure. Eli Raridon, the Notre Dame tight end taken in the 3rd round with the 95th pick, has already signed his rookie contract. 4 years, through 2029, with a base value just under $6.75 million and $1.368 million guaranteed through his signing bonus. I know that is not the kind of news that breaks the internet, but well-built teams do not live only on fireworks. They live on cost-controlled pieces that can become real advantages when the roster starts getting expensive. The contract details are pretty standard for a player picked in that part of the draft. His base salary starts at $885,000 in 2026, rises to a little over $1.19 million in 2027, then $1.49 million in 2028, and reaches $1.8 million in 2029. The cap hit also grows year by year, but nothing scary. $1.227 million in year 1, $1.533 million in year 2, $1.840 million in year 3, and $2.147 million in the final year. For a position that can support blocking, heavy personnel, play action, and the middle of the field, that is a manageable bet. And here is the behind-the-scenes read. The Patriots are not paying Raridon to be a May headline. They are buying development, size, formation value, room to grow, and a possible piece that can make Drake Maye's life easier. Josh McDaniels has always valued tight ends who understand more than pretty routes. The guy has to block, sell intent, adjust details, recognize defensive fronts, and be reliable when the play gets tight. Because the salaries are not guaranteed, outside of the bonus, New England keeps flexibility. If Raridon grows, the contract becomes a great deal. If it takes time, the financial risk is limited. This is the kind of move that feels small right now, but separates a patched-together roster from a planned roster when December starts demanding depth. Now let me pull back the curtain on the place where this season could be decided before a lot of people even realize it. The 2026 schedule is out, and it is not treating the Patriots like a cute story. It is treating New England like an AFC champion that has to prove everything all over again. 7 of the first 11 games away from home. A heavy travel stretch. 8 opponents that made the playoffs. 5 division champions on the schedule. This is not a slate for a team still trying to learn how to walk. This is the league putting Drake Maye on the road, in noise, under pressure, with very little room to breathe. And you know what conversation is probably happening inside that building? With no cameras and no polished press conference lines? It is not just, can Maye carry it? They already know he can carry it. The real question is, how long do you let your quarterback carry more weight than he should? Because 2025 already showed how ridiculous Maye can be even when the protection is not clean. He escaped. He extended plays. He punished defenses with his arm and his legs. He kept the offense alive when too much around him was still being patched together. But that cannot become the philosophy. Mobility is a weapon. It is not health insurance for a leaky offensive line. If the Patriots want to get back to January with authority, they have to keep Maye upright when the schedule gets tight. That is why the offensive line changes sit at the heart of this story. Elijah Vera-Tucker arrives as a major addition, but with an injury history that demands caution. Caleb Lomu, coming out of Utah after allowing no sacks in 2025, looks like a talent who can start in a swing tackle role and slowly put pressure on the structure. Will Campbell is coming back from a knee injury. Morgan Moses is 35. Jared Wilson is moving from left guard to center, replacing Garrett Bradbury, carrying the reputation of being a strong center at Georgia, but still without having done it in the NFL. You see the picture? There is talent. There is a plan. There is also risk in almost every chair. And the detail that bothers me is the guard depth. When a schedule starts with that much travel and that many quality pass rushes, you do not want to find out in October that you were one interior piece short. So I am not looking at this season asking whether Drake Maye is good enough. To me, that answer has already started to show itself. I am asking whether the Patriots are going to protect him like you protect a franchise quarterback. Because the difference between a dangerous offense and a championship offense might be half a second more in the pocket. And I want to feel where the fan base stands on this. Drop in the comments which offensive lineman you think has to answer fast so this season does not turn into unnecessary pain for Maye. Because if that protection clicks, New England stops depending on miracles. They start playing with control. At the end of the day, these four stories may look separate, but they are telling the same story through different cracks in the wall. The Patriots are trying to move up a tier without losing control. A.J. Brown represents the move that changes how the league looks at them. DeMario Douglas shows that progress can cost space for players fans love. Eli Raridan reminds you that strong rosters are also built through smart contracts, away from the spotlight. And the 2026 schedule warns everybody that Drake Maye is not getting an easy road. Foxborough is building answers, not excuses. If you want to track every signal of this turn with me, hit the like button, subscribe, and stay locked in, because this offseason still has noise left to make.